Hello guys and gals, Buffalo here. Welcome back to the range. Today I've got a firearm that belongs to a friend of mine, Greg. You guys have heard me speak of Greg before. He's a friend of the channel. He's the one that provided the music for my outro at the end of all my videos. That's him and his daughter. It's actually his daughter's the one picking the banjo on that outro song. So he recently acquired this Ruger new model Super Blackhawk Bisley Lipsy's dealer exclusive. And that's what we're going to be looking at today on Buffalo's Outdoors. It's a single action hunting revolver chambered for 5 rounds of .454 Casull, which is just a powerhouse cartridge, certainly more than capable of taking any game here in North America. I'm going to go over it real quick with you guys and then we'll do some shooting. We'll start with the sights. The front sight is a ramped blade. It's a black sight pinned in place. I don't mind the black front sight for target shooting. In fact, I prefer it under ideal conditions, but under less than optimal conditions in the field, that would be hard to pick up. I think if I were going to hunt with this revolver, I'd touch that up with some orange paint. The rear sight is fully adjustable for windage and elevation. Now, I would prefer more substantial sights on a revolver this serious, but these do get the job done. It has a 6.5-inch cold hammer forged barrel with 6-groove 1-in-24 right-hand twist rifling. It is stainless steel, as is the cylinder frame, and grip frame. It's also available with a 4.62-inch barrel if you prefer a shorter gun. The overall length on this one is 12.4 inches. Got a sight radius of about 8.5 inches. The advertised weight is 50.4 ounces unloaded. My scale shows it as 49.8 ounces. And with 5 rounds of 300 grain buffalo bore ammunition, it bumps it up to 54.9 ounces. Being what's called a new model Super Blackhawk, it does have the transfer bar safety, meaning that you can rest the hammer over a cartridge, and that means you can load all 5 rounds. You don't have to do the old load around, skip around routine. It also has a loading gate interlock. You can't cock the hammer with the gate open, and you can't open the gate if the hammer is cocked. So that's a nice safety feature. The Bisley features on this revolver are, of course, the grip frame, the Altamont hardwood grips with the Blackhawk logo, the hammer, and the trigger. That Bisley grip really helps control the recoil, and this thing does produce a lot of recoil. And I prefer the Bisley style hammer and trigger, so that's a nice touch too. The trigger on this unit breaks at about 3 pounds, 6.3 ounces, according to my Lyman trigger scale. And it's a very clean trigger. I've got no problems with the trigger. Wish it was a little lighter, but no real issues with it. Now this exact same setup is also available chambered in .480 Ruger. And what Ruger did on these 2 big bore revolvers is they added a locking screw to hold the base pin in as an extra precaution. You still got your button to remove the base pin, but they also added that locking screw. I need to tighten that up before I start shooting. And I know it's an extra step to remove your cylinder, but I think it's well worth it. I certainly don't want my base pin walking out in between shots. The cylinder itself is made from through-hardened Carpenter 465 stainless steel. And since it's only got 5 chambers cut, there's plenty of meat in there to contain those high-pressure cartridges. Are you uns ready for me to shut up and do a little shooting with this beast? Let's do it. Okay, so this is my first time shooting this revolver. Don't know anything about it. Haven't checked the sights or anything. I do have a big target over here, so I'm going to try to see if I can hit that target. But what I've done, I'm going to show you guys the difference in .45 Colt and .454 Casull. I've got 3 rounds of .45 Colt loaded up here, and they are Hornady Revolution 225 grain FTX, rated at 950 feet per second at the muzzle. And then I've got two buffalo bore 300 grain, and these are rated at 1650 feet per second at the muzzle. They are a 300 grain jacketed flat point. It's going to be a huge difference. Any revolver that's chambered for 454 Casull can also chamber and shoot 45 Colt, much the same way that you can chamber and shoot 38 Special in a 357 Magnum or 44 Special in a 44 Magnum. The standard pressure 45 Colt generates about 14,000 psi pressure. The 454 Casull generates about 65,000 psi of pressure. That's about the same pressure as a 300 Weatherby Magnum rifle cartridge, but I'm shooting it out of a handgun. So you're going to see there's a significant difference in the recoil. The 454 generates nearly 5 times as much recoil as the 45 Colt. So let's see what that looks like. And I may not even hit that target. I am shooting into a backstop, if you can't see it there on your screen. 45 Colt. As you can see, not too bad. It's a pussycat out of a big revolver like this. But now I've got two 454 Casull, 300 grain buffalo bore rounds loaded up, and I better hang on to it. Oh yeah, now I've got a hold of something. Woo! Guys, you don't see me wear shooting gloves very often, but I've been around for a while and I've been bitten by a few big bore revolvers in my time. I don't know if this one is a finger smacker or not, but I put the gloves on just in case. Got a nice long ejector rod here to push those cartridges out. Of course, I save all that brass. These, the 45 Colt and especially the 454 Casull are very expensive cartridges. So reloading, if you're going to shoot these very much, reloading is a must. It comes in your standard hard plastic Ruger carrying case. Of course, you've got your paperwork and owner's manuals. Comes with a free target. No, Greg hasn't shot this gun yet. I'm sure he won't mind if I go ahead and shoot the free target. I'll just hang that right there, and we'll get up close and personal with it. I'm back here at about 5 yards, and I've got a 240 grain Hornady XTP rated at 1900 feet per second. Woo! So there's the cable. That lock evaporated. There's some little bits of plastic here and there. That XTP picked that lock almost as fast as that lock picking lawyer. Let's see if we can find anything substantial. Ah, there's the actual mechanism out of the lock. Look at that. It just disintegrated that lock. I've got an empty paint bucket here that I have refilled with water. Let's try it from about 20 yards. Gosh. Woo! Well, that left me a mess to pick up. It wouldn't be a big bore show if I didn't shoot a few water jugs, would it? Gosh, that power is just amazing. Boom. My GoPro battery died and my camera went off right when I was finishing that water jug clip. I put me a new battery in it. I'm back out here. You can see the sun's coming out now. I've got my shadow right here. Howdy, everybody. But the sights seem to be on this revolver as far as just shooting things up close like I've been doing here. So I thought I'd come out here at 50 yards, a little more realistic hunting distance, and just shoot 5 shots on that big steel target and see exactly where I'm hitting, because I haven't adjusted these sights at all. It's just straight out of the box. Just going to hold center mass on that big steel target. That one hit right where I was aiming. Wow. Doesn't appear to be too bad of a group. Walk down here and check it out. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're all, I can cover them with my hand. They got that paint on me from the, I'm an idiot. I just sat there and stuck my hand in that paint after I painted that target before I shot it. Stuff like that happens. It happens to me a lot. I'll just be honest with you. But that's not too bad for somebody like me that don't shoot a whole lot of big bore. I'm sure, you know, some of you guys that shoot that stuff all the time could really tighten that up, but it does show that the revolver has some potential there. Seems to like that load, and the sights are right on out of the box. I did notice when I shot those 45 Colt loads earlier that they were hitting way up in here. So, point of impact is going to change with different loads, of course, especially with that extreme of a difference. But the 45 Colt was definitely hitting higher than the 454 Casull 300 grain loads. So I just got done shooting that sequence, and I noticed that my rear sight retaining pin is walking out. I'm lucky I didn't lose it. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's sticking out about 1/4 of an inch. There's an easy fix for that. Just pull the pin out, give it a real slight bend. Don't break it. Just give it a bend and put it back in, drive it back in, and that slight bend will act like a spring and keep tension on the pin and hold it in there. I've done that on several Ruger sights. But for now, this is not my gun, so I'm just going to push that back in there, and I'll let Greg know about it. So the fit and finish is typical Ruger. You know, the wood to metal is not perfect. The loading gate is not perfectly aligned. Just little things that you probably wouldn't even notice unless you were looking for them. It's got that satin brushed looking stainless steel finish, and you can see some grain in the metal. I can see some file marks, machine marks here and there. It's your typical Ruger finish. You know, Ruger, these revolvers aren't meant to be safe queens, beauty queens. These are working guns. And for a working gun, the fit and finish is just fine, in my opinion. I like the way it looks. But I'm going to have to end this video. I do want to thank Greg. You know, this is not an actual review of this revolver, for one. Don't get this confused. This has just been a show and tell of my friend Greg's revolver. So thanks, Greg, for sending this over and allowing me to take the first shots and share your revolver with my viewers. I appreciate that. You guys always remember, if someone asks you to give up a little of your freedom for the greater good, that freedom is the greater good. That's all I've got, and I'll talk with y'all again soon.